So I need to do an inspection of our water tower. It's pretty low, and it went from 60% to 20%, and that has me worried. And I need to figure out if everything is okay. And there are also a few other issues that I like to investigate, and I take you along, and I can show you a few of the sites. So here, this is the pond in the dog enclosure, once it's enclosed. And you can see it is full. It is completely full. And if we get more rain, which we might, then we should make use of an outflow that exists. It's a little channel, partially overgrown, but it will not stop the water completely, which is here, and it goes that way, and then can leave into the next pond. This will run on the surface, basically flood the path there, but that's okay. The water has a way to get out. And the sun is out. We had a forecast for more rain for today, but apparently that wasn't the case. And so this is how it now looks like. So it's pretty nice. But the reason for being out here is not so nice, so I need to focus on that. But I take you along as I see things that might be of interest to you. So this here is the water tower that I was speaking about. And the sensor reports that it is very, very low. And here on the side, there's a physical device that confirms that. So you see the thing there that is hanging from the top. That is supposed to be at the bottom and not at the top. So first order of business, I will close this valve here because nobody needs this water here in this area. So there's one less thing to worry about. And now, but it hasn't been leaking, which is also okay because I don't see any issues there. It's all regular moist, but not wet. And this pipe here is the one that fills it, but the sun is out. And this should be pumping, but it's not. I cannot sense water movement in that. So that's strange. But of course is a problem. This holds roughly 5,000 liters, and once they're empty, I can't shower. So there's a personal interest in this. So let's go here. I will tell you a bit and then I do the proper investigation. So this is the shallow well that we have, and you see there's another sensor that tells me how full it is, and it's 130% full. That's pretty good. And yes, this well should be closed on top so that no critters die inside the water and then contaminate it. But as you see, there is something else there, and we need to finish this. So here we have the electrical part and the solar part is connected. This would be that pump, but it's not running. So I need to figure out what it is. So it turns out that the pump that is solar powered. It's a smart pump, Grundfos, pretty expensive. These things cost about €2,000. Has an issue. And what this pump does is it takes the power from 2 solar panels and works with the voltage that becomes available and transports the water. So right now there's sun out, and usually it would work now very, very well, but it does not work. So as I walk, I tell you that story, and instead of showing me, I show you how the landscape looks like. That's what you guys are more interested in. So I connected AC power to it. These pumps can do both, so you can do DC and AC. And I connected AC because we have another pump in there, and that's then also my solution in a moment, but I need to do some piping. So I connected this and could observe that there is a clock. So when the current comes on, there is a clock in the pump, and that's it. And then I see a consumption of 2.7 watt, and that's definitely not a lot. So there is no water flowing because of that. So it seems like the motor of the pump is broken and it requires a replacement, just like the other pump. The other pump is larger. The motor broke, but we have the pump part. So at some point the idea is to buy another motor, but the motor is the expensive part. So it looks like we have case number 2. That of course is very unfortunate, because it's again a major expense. Under regular circumstances I wouldn't mind, but currently it's a bummer. But that's why you have redundancy. So the plan B to get out of this is to use the cheapo pump that is also in that well there. It's very powerful, and it cost some €300, but it's not as smart and requires a regular current, and it's either on or off, so it's not variable speed. And I will use this and to connect it to the water tower, and then we are basically back to a half manual solution. But as we don't have to irrigate for a while, that should then also work, and I can still control it from afar. And I will now go in here and check on the horses and also take you to the swales. But to finish the thought, so what I need to do is I need to install a bypass. There's already a valve that allows me to do this and redirect the flow from this other pump into the tank, and then we should be good. So that's the plan for when I come back. Now back in here. That is the entrance to what we call Zone C. So there is one horse, because that's why I'm coming here. I wanted to check on them, because I have not seen them. So there's at least one, and of course I'm worried. And by the way, the lab came back with nothing. So the toxicology analysis of the stomach of the dead horse, that we call it librada, that came back with a negative result. Nothing found, which is very unfortunate. So we are back to guessing. And of course I do guess also bad actors, but there is no proof, and therefore I keep my mouth shut. It's just a thought. And yeah, this isn't right. And therefore, for the future, I want to take some passive security measures to ensure. And see, there is exactly that problem. Damn. Okay, so there is Zolo. And yeah, Zolo. Huh? Your friend? Yeah, your friend Tuscarora, I see it. Huh, Zolo? Yeah, he want to tell me something. Yeah, let's go there. Okay. 3 dead horses. For an unknown reason. That's not fair. That cannot be coincidence. That is not because there is some bad plant. I am now very convinced that this has to be man-made. But I have no proof. And I have been sick for the last few days. And I haven't seen them over this time, and I was worried. But if there is some influence, even calling the vet very quickly will not really help. So this is a very good, well-trained, very friendly, extremely educated horse. And now she's dead. I'm angry. So before I show you other things here, let me organize a few things. Okay, so after some consideration, I will continue showing you around, but of course this is a bummer, and will give this whole episode a totally different twist. So as you can see, Tuscarora lies dead there, and probably for a couple of days already. The vultures haven't been here so far, but the eyes are gone. So someone has been picking. The eyes are the first to go. And Solo is standing there over there in the sun, and that explains why yesterday I saw him alone from the window while I was still recovering from my little personal challenge. And of course I suspect that someone did something. I keep walking because there's nothing I can do right here. And obviously we'll get the excavator and bury her. But it will not be today. And Angel and I will think about this. So let me tell you a few thoughts, and of course this is all raw thinking, and all the while I can show you the landscape. So we do have some strange neighbors around. It's 2 people. And they stem from the same origin, to put it that way. It's that village on the other side. And these people are known for being problematic characters. That's a bad thing, but it happens. Especially in the countryside, where people are raised sometimes in a different way, and there's issues, and people can't deal with their feelings and whatever. But it's not of my concern, and the only thing that is of my concern that they leave my stuff alone. And they haven't in the past. So there have been numerous incidents of these people. So it's not only the two, but also others. But they are all somehow related to each other. Not sure if they are truly the same family, but somehow they are related. So I've been told. And yeah, they have tried to mess around with it. So basically, they don't want us here. Of course, this is weird, because anybody can buy any piece of land, and as long as I don't mess with other people, they should not mess with me. But some people don't see it that way, and so they think they own everything around. Also, they don't. So it's like some neighbor says, "Oh, nice car you got. I'm going to take it for a spin." And no, you would not be okay with that. But this is basically what these people have been doing in the past. And you can call them a bully. So they got told not to do this, and then they kept doing it, and then we ensured that they really get the message by, for example, closing the gate and say, "No, unless you understand, you will not pass." And then they started to behave, and eventually they got kicked out, not by us, but by the rightful owner of the place. And so that problem was gone. But the other two people, they stayed. One owns by inheritance the neighboring land, the one that you see there in front, and the other is his tenant. And yeah, they don't like our dogs, because we have dogs. And there, there's a lot of things. It doesn't matter, but you can see that there might be a motive. But having a motive does not make you a criminal. So is this legal concept: you are innocent until proven guilty, and therefore I am not accusing or declaring anyone as being guilty of anything. So no. But the thought is there, I have to admit. So they might have come up with this idea to do something to the horses in order to scare us and drive us away to get their will. And of course that's not going to happen. I am not easily scared, and much less driven away. So basically, if you fuck with the bull, you get the horns, and I think I prefer to be the bull and give them the horns instead of being fucked around with, to put it bluntly. So I'm thinking. So one thing that I want to do, once the resources for these toys become available, and they will, of course, I'm going to take a map and have a look. And on this map I will then see the perimeter and also the entry and exit points. You are looking at the easement, which is one of the paths that goes through. We have to maintain this open and accessible, but there's an entry and an exit point. So that gate up there, that's the entry point, or the exit. Depends on which side you look at. And of course these should be supervised. So I want to know who crosses here. I want to know the status of the fence. anyone tampering with anything. And of course that means cameras, and those cameras need to be connected, so it means a network, and of course they need power, so that means we need to either run power lines, but the distances are long, so it's not like like a compound of whatsoever square meters, smallest thing for a factory, where you install the security cameras around the building's wall. So no, not like that. So there is a wide area network involved, so radio links over longer distance. Good that I've played with these things before. And by the way, here is another work to do. But as we don't want to run pigs inside of this, it doesn't really matter. So this is just something we need to do. So here, for example, there could be a little tower, to put it this way. Oh well, it's a longer round tube that goes up, maybe some 4 meters or so, and on top of that there would be a couple of cameras watching these 2 gates, and also the easement down. The thing is, bad people are usually stupid. They don't think ahead. But they figure out one thing. If you are able to catch them in the act, then they will not permit the act. That's how they think. They are little children, basically, their way of thinking. So if you see it, what they do, or you are present, and it could be by means of a camera, then they will not do it. But the moment the cat is out of the house, the mice dance on the table. And that is exactly how their mind works. It's very unfortunate, it's so stupid. And so, by putting up some credible deterrent in the form of supervision, that could then stop this from happening. Of course, it does not get the 3 animals that are dead alive, the 3 horses. They are a loss. Financially, it's also a loss. But I rather look at the emotional part, because they were very good horses. And it's unfair. I don't mind to kill a pig because I'm hungry. But in the case of a horse, I see other value than just food. So therefore, this is a different thing. And I know you can communicate with pigs the same way as with a dog, but let's not go there. This is a different conversation. So the thing is, it hurts. And it doesn't matter why. And I don't want this to happen again, and again, and again. Because if someone does something, by the way, this is very soaked here, I'm pretty wet. But I want to take you to these swales there. So I need to find a way here. I drove a few times here, and it shows. Nothing has grown. Okay, so the point is, we want to do some very nice things in the future that involves people like volunteers and tourists, and also new animals, and a different way of doing things. And this different way of doing things also is related to a lot of automation. And because of that automation, it makes sense to have the infrastructure in terms of network and power and all that in all those places. And then it's very easy, and basically a consequence, to also have the other devices like cameras, have more sensors and stuff like that, so that we know what's going on and that we are on top of things and can control what happens. and where and when something happened, who has been drinking water, and maybe how much, what the feed intake was, and all these things. So 21st century farming. As in my regular job, I am working now with artificial intelligence. So that means I'm programming things that use it. I'm not creating AI. That is above my pay grade. But what I do is, for example, I programmed a chatbot that uses an AI model, and this thing can answer your email or can be a customer support representative or something like that. And you see, the swale is full. Some wanted to see that, so I make an effort to show it to you. And I'm working on other related things, and of course I am doing some side burner or back burner research to figure out how I can use this technology that is now available. There are also vision models that can detect things, people, animals, and you can distinguish the same way as a human or the animals can, one animal from another. So the animals do recognize themselves between themselves by look, not only by sound and smell. They also have a good idea who is approaching from afar, just by looking. And to a human they might all seem the same, but they figure this out. And so can the AI. So idea is to use this stuff and make farming a lot more interesting to those who are interested in the topic. The others who just want to draw a paycheck and do nothing, well, they are not invited. And that's it. So it's a very simple thing. So therefore, what I just said about the supervision, this is not a pipe dream. It just needs a reason. Well, the reason seems to have been given. And it's not just because of that and for that. It is related to the other part, and therefore I think we will have it no matter what. So with dead horses or no dead horses, we will simply have eyes and ears on the ground all over the place. But of course it will be the areas where we work. It will not be, let's do it for the whole place, all 45 hectares in one go. It will not be like that. But then of course we now face the reality that we are down to one horse. And that's the one horse that you cannot ride because of the bad experiences he had. He seemed very friendly, but he was sad. And so he kind of asked for help, or at least wanted to tell. But he is not the horse that you could ride. So all plans that are related to riding a horse, they are now buried. Because the last rideable horse was Tuscarora, and it was a fantastic horse for that. Extremely beginner friendly also. And the project horse, Librada, that was the second victim. And yeah, Sacagawea sadly lost her eyesight before, so the loss already happened, but she didn't need to die. So no equestrian things for the time being. But the moment we get new horses, I want to have a different structure in place that prevents this from happening. And that also means you might spot that there is a animal water. It's not connected, but we used it there when we had a water line in this place. So wherever we have an animal waterer, there will be a camera, for example, to ensure that we know who is using that water and what the water level is and this kind of stuff. So we learned a few things, and there are now basically a few rules. So when we do new things, it will be in a orderly and planned fashion, and an installation needs to be complete, and by complete that means we install, for example, an animal waterer or feeder somewhere, but that somewhere will be very close to the farmyard so that it's easy to access and maintain. And then of course the infrastructure regarding supervision is also very easy, because it just means there will be a cable and it will be supervised and automated. So think about a pig feeder, an installation where the pig goes through a gate, taps on a scale, we record the weight of the animal, it has an RFID tag. Animals have to have tags for some form. Horses have an RFID tag, but it's they get this injected. And for pigs you can do the very same, and then you can record the weight of this animal. Then the feeder provides the food. Of course, in the case of pigs it will be always for a group, but it doesn't matter. And then you have an idea about the weight increase and changes, feeding habits, because there's also a camera, and I can figure out what's going on by looking at the images, just the same as a human sitting there. And then everything runs with maybe 2 humans for maintenance, and that's it. Of course, these 2 humans need to be smart, so it's not enough to have 2 hands. You also need to have a working brain, and that is not a joke. So this stuff is not overly complicated. This stuff is easy to learn if you are interested. I am not talking about creating those systems. I'm talking about maintaining them, installing them. So think about the guys who install the fiber optics cable in the streets to give you internet. That kind of maintenance. So these people, they can also do that stuff. So basically, an electrician, that's a good example, who is interested in a few more other things, not only volts and amps. He already knows all the basics, and this person can also do a lot of other things. So it doesn't have to be electricity, but something with their hands, building, fixing things that are physical, they can do this. So this is the perfect candidate, such type of person. Not the one who can only feed some animals and every day you have to tell them how much and how it's done. So not that kind. And this kind unfortunately is around. Nothing against those people, but we now need the other kind. So that basically is the path forward. It's getting clearer and clearer. Of course, it does require a significant investment, and also I have to dedicate time to it. But it will happen, because that's the only way to achieve what I want. And I want this place to be nice and green and happy. And I also want to have a community of young people around who also share the idea and like to make a difference as a volunteer, for example. So there will be a lot of opportunities for example, university students in this area that I mentioned, electronics, engineering, software development, who also like to get their hands dirty once in a while. So those are the ones that I prefer. Of course, there's nothing against the biologists. They need them too. But the builders, they are more than welcome. So if you happen to be one or you know one, yeah, that is your opportunity to get in touch. And once we can afford hosting these things, we will continue to do so. And in a nice way, of course. So this is not come on tomorrow, but this is now the set goal. So the direction has changed, and this is part of that change. So now enough of talking about thoughts and future ideas. So this is the upper swale, and also I have been talking, I have not seen any toxic plants around here. We never had them. So why would they suddenly show up and kill 3 horses in a row, basically? This is weird. And you see that this swale is filled. This is standing water. The ground where I was walking, there between the 2 swales, that was very wet. So this is all functioning. Of course, there are not a lot of plants, but that is totally normal, because it needs higher temperatures for things to grow and seed. But every little bit. And you see, the ground is mostly stone and sand. So therefore there are no seeds in here unless we plant something. But over time that should change. And these palovnia trees, by late April, they will come back to life. You see, they're greenish. They are alive. They are not dead. They look in rough shape, but that's because of the scratching. And they will come back. And in May, there should be a tall tree here again. And the others that are taller, they will also then continue to grow. And we will not do anything here. I said this before the last time I was here. This is just the way it is right now, and it should work out itself while we focus on the farmyard and the immediate other things. And of course, this distraction doesn't have to be, but then there isn't much that we can actually do right now. So just swallow that. There's no other way. And take into account that the possibility exists, and so we create this credible deterrent. And if you wonder where I got this terminology from, yes, that is military speak. And it's a threat that I am perceiving, and therefore I'm using the language. Doesn't mean a lot, but I decided to look at this from a threat assessment perspective. And in IT we also do this, because when you want to secure your network from attacks, hacking, spamming, and all these other things, or your people from scamming, phishing, yes, then you also have to put on a general's cap and look at this from their perspective. And they're pretty good at figuring out when there's a threat and how to stop it. And I also learned that in these things it's not about winning. It's apparently more about to keep the upper hand. And well, so then so be it. So, but I will not bothering you with strong talk. That does not make any sense. But so that you know what the train of thought was. So you see, this area here is very wet. And once the temperatures go up, that should grow like crazy. So spring will be good here in this area. Right now it's almost like a marshland. Well, it's far from that, but right now I am walking here on very wet ground. But there are stones all over, and those stones are not they're supposed to be on the surface. There is a layer missing. I keep saying that, but that layer is probably missing for a very long time, because it cannot be that this has been the way like this. But on the other hand, those stone walls, they tell a different story. The stone walls say that there have been a lot of stones around, but these stones here, see, they are a lot smaller. You can't build these stone walls from these. So the stones that they used to build all these walls instead of fences, before there was wire, they collected the bigger ones already and built the walls. Because these, they are a hand or 2 hands, and the other ones, they are much larger. And they did this, with human labor. Very impressive. So I think between then and now, a lot of soil disappeared. But okay, we will bring it back. And that is still my goal. But I need to apply what I have experienced to make this happen. So, now I hope I can leave this video of walking around on a happy note, despite the loss of the 2 horses, of the 3 horses in total, the one today and the others before. So you have seen that the swales are working, but there is not a lot of plant coverage yet. This area here looks better because there is more biomass. That is the place where we unloaded a lot of straws while we had the cows in here, and it shows. So all this additional material helped tremendously. So there are grasses growing. This is how it's supposed to be, despite the fact that it has been cold. Right? The grasses grow very, very slowly, or not at all, or once in a while. So this is how it can be, and probably a lot better than that. But the remainder of the area, look over there. And of course, immediately there is a green leaf. Sheep will be out. You see the difference. So this is the neighbor. And yeah, it is that kind of neighbor. So, but let's not go back there. And by the way, there on this green gate, there's a sensor that tells us if it opens. And it reports every 20 minutes, but it does. And of course, it's visible. So this is the first message. You touch this and you do some funny stuff, you will find out. And the gate since then has always been closed when someone was passing. So it's working. A little bit of education. It goes a long way. So I will leave you on a happy note, because the sun is out, the swales are working. I will deal with my losses. And yeah, of course, there will be no immediate action. What can we do? We have no proof of nothing. We only have a dead horse. And Solo is now alone. And because of that, I will put him together with the sheep now, and I'm not afraid that he might eat something in the other area where Sakahawaya died, because we found nothing there too, so it has to be something else, unfortunately. Okay, but I wanted to be on a happy note, so see you, and I will tell you how it continues.